Women are so fucking cool.
Welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a fun episode. I talked to one of my good friends, Anne Borow-Lawrence, and we just had a really good time just talking and discussing, and so kind of felt like we were just on a regular call. So just enjoy the conversation that we had. And I'm also just really grateful again for all the women who've already been a guest on the podcast. Just really so special. And I want to put a shout out to anybody who's listening to this. If you're interested in being on the podcast, please reach out to me, comment, go to the website. If you know of a woman who you think is a fucking cool woman, please invite her. I'm going to include the link to the form to sign up to be on the podcast. And remember, this is also going to be, it's turning into a documentary. I'm still in the process of like, just processing and workshopping and kind of creatively brainstorming, thinking about what this project is going to turn into. So just it's kind of a work in progress, creative process. So I really do appreciate partaking partaking in this with me. So it's just this is just a place for me to just continue to you know celebrate and bring in that power of amazing fucking cool woman power because we just need it and we are it and we have as we continue to move forward in life, uh, this is it. This is our time. So it's always been our time. And so if it is our time, then let's do it. So yeah, so listen to these podcasts, um, share, this with your friends and check out the website, fcwsociety.com and follow and like. So here's Anne, a fucking cool woman. Oh, I'm really happy once again to talk to yet another FCW. Fucking cool women. We are everywhere. And right now, Anne Lawrence is with me. And welcome, Anne, to an episode of Women Are So Fucking Cool.
And thank you, Joanne, because I am honored and to I'm really thrilled to be here with you
Oh, yeah.
and
It's
to
a
have
lot
an
of fun.
and really to have an opportunity
Uh-huh.
to dialogue, both monologue and dialogue, about so what is this thing called a fucking cool woman? And in preparing to be with you today, I really have looked. And so much of I think what I'm interested in is really not only, who women are domestically, but really who women are globally. And what are the qualities and what are the traits that have us then say a woman is a fucking cool woman?
Yeah.
And I think, that, and Joanne, as you and I have talked about, leaving a message for future generations to come. And for me, a fucking cool woman, it can be somebody who's beautiful. It can be somebody who's brilliant. It could be a Michelle Obama. I think she's a really fucking cool woman.
Yeah.
And who she is as a role model. Um, but I think maybe, or and at the heart of it, the women that I think of who are really fucking cool, they care. They give a shit, not only about their own self-interest. They care about their communities, they care about their families, they care about other women. They think beyond the confines of their own immediate needs. They have an eye and an ear for what will make a difference in the bigger picture for all beings that happen to occupy this physical form that we call female or women. And there's a lot of different iterations and expressions in it. So that's kind of off the top of my head. Those are some of the qualities. And it's how we feel about ourselves. That the women that I know that are fucking cool women, they have every self-doubt, every insecurity, everything that's part of being a human being, and they don't let it stop them. They acknowledge it, they let themselves be vulnerable. some of the coolest women that I know are the ones that are willing to show that other side that they think is in a safe side to show. There's a courage that comes with being a fucking cool woman and being willing to let other women know that they're not alone, that
Yeah.
we're all in this together. And it doesn't matter our race, our color, country of origin, it doesn't matter. And it's easy to get stuck in what are the differences between us versus, well, what are the similarities? What are the things that we all share? And then how do we support each other?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, thanks for just jumping right in and just sharing what a definition is, because we were talking before we started recording, and we were talking about, what this podcast is going to be about and what you're going to say. And I love how when you were sharing, one of the things that you started talking about, and so many of us talk about it, is how there's so many differences, and we are also here to support each other. We're here, we're not alone. And women to have courage to share, be vulnerable with each other. And I think that is one of the reasons that I'm really inspired by this podcast. And when I talk to, and when I meet in general, is because there's so much chaos going on. But if women, fucking cool women, recognize and really utilize their mass qualities that are everywhere, like everything you said, right? And come together and use that power to really, do what we need to do. I don't even know. I don't even have a question. You blew me away what you said. So I'm just gonna say
Okay. And one of the things that I wanted to share, because this
that.
was again, for everybody to know. I mean, I have watched and listened to before I became a guest on this, to other women. And
Yeah,
the Joanne interviews, it really are extraordinary.
right.
I mean, my preparation for being with Joanne was listening and being inspired and moved and touched by the voices and experiences of other women who I've never met. And I think that's part of the magnificence and my own commitment to have this really go global. Women need to hear this, men need to hear this. So it's not just that women need to hear it. And one of the things that I thought about, and it was in one of the interviews Joanne did with somebody, it's like, when did you realize you were a fucking cool woman? And I thought about so I'm named after my maternal grandmother. So her name was Anna, and she transitioned before I was born. And so I was probably in nursery school or kindergarten. And I knew that I was named for my grandmother. And somewhere in the innocence of my 4-year-old or 5-year-old mind, I said, I really need to love my mommy as much as the magical thinking of a 4-year-old. I need to love my mommy as much as I can for all the time that I have her. Because I understood that her mother transitioned when my mom was young. And I did the math. My mother was like 31 and she didn't have a mom anymore. And I said, all there is to do in our lifetimes is be good and not like a good little girl, but be good and kind and love the people in our lives as much as we can while we have them. And to me, that's like a fucking cool little girl who became a fucking cool woman. But that was the foundation of it. So it's, my own development and expression as a woman has, certainly has morphed and changed, and I've grown and developed through many years and many experiences. But it's something that I think that we all are imbued with is that inner knowing of how to be in life. And it's not that I necessarily had role models. My parents would say, be nice to everybody, play nice with the other children. But somewhere on a very spiritual, intuitive level, I just got that I had a choice, even at 4. Like I could play nice with the other children, even if they didn't play nicely with me. That's how do you navigate all of that? So I wanted to share that. I hadn't thought of it until being with you, Joanne, about my 4-year-old awakening about love everybody as much as you can. Like love leads the way.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. And I think I'm going to ask that question again. That was just a spur of the moment question, but I think I'm going to add it. And then I started realizing too, I haven't really had the conversation with anybody about what really kind of inspired. Well, I guess I have the FCW Society and my own definition of FCW. And
Mm,
it really does come back from that place that you were talking about. Because it is a spiritual, not that everybody identifies as a spiritual person, but that intuitiveness. And when you wanted to be good, not that good little girl, but you wanted to be that good and kind. And I think that for me was also because there's this element of like, oh, the cool kids, but they weren't very kind. A lot of, popular, sometimes the mean girls who might be think they're cool, but they're not very kind people. And I want to be a kind person. And I think that's where that the being a fucking cool, brought that fucking nice. And then there's power in also saying, I'm I'm empowering myself that I have the rights to be whatever I want to be. I have full blown choice over whatever I need to do. And I'm a nice girl, but don't take advantage of me,
right.
and go
And I
ahead.
think that's where, well, and I think it's also where, again, in thinking about, being together, that fun, I mean, it goes back to like the mean girls. And I managed in junior high school and high school. One of the things that I said, and this is when I think I was in eighth grade, walking down the hallway to my history class. And I said, so I was about 13 or 14. And I said, um, I'm never going to make it because I'm the cutest girl in the class, cutest, most popular, but I figured out at 13 that, like a winning strategy was about being great with people. Like it was just never going to be, that I was going to be the one that all the boys picked, like kind of the nature of all of that socialization in middle school or junior high school. And I just determined, you know, and then lived into that. Like
Okay.
I could really be great with people. And I love Kira, who's another one of the women that has been interviewed, talked about the psychological studies about kids that are popular. It's not the mean girls. It
Uh-uh.
is the ones that are really great with people and care and are champions and cheerleaders. And I think growing up, and in the environment and competition and just all of the socialization, the choice that I made, I always had women friends and I mean, I still have friends from kindergarten that are women and men. And the choices that I made, though, I was very particular about who the women were that I hung out with. And I was in corporate, I mean, at certain points in time, but I was definitely more of a man's woman. It was safer territory for me to have
Uh,
male friends than women friends because my experience a lot of times was just a competition of women and how women play dirty. And it goes back to, being in junior high, like all that, the history. And when I was 50, I did a course that was a women's weekend. And that really was the breakthrough point for me at 50. And
uh,
I had tons of friends, but it was being in a community of women. And one of the messages was find women who love you. Find women who are living their lives and fulfilling upon their dreams, their visions, their purposes in a way that resonates for you. Either model them, befriend them, and you also be that way for other women. And it shifted. It really had me appreciate, and this goes back to fucking cool women. It had me fall in love with myself. Because certainly what I realized, if I was rejecting other women as dangerous or superficial or whatever word I was going to use about them, somebody could be saying that about me. It wasn't a one-way street. So, and I
very
haven't really
wise.
right, I haven't really thought of it that way before. But, when that happened,